So earnings season is rolling on, but this week I decided to do something a little different. I wanted to take a look at the 5 most important stocks you should be watching during this second quarter earnings season, because after all, these are the ones that all the eyeballs are going to be on. Several of them are actually earnings all-stars. What's going on with these stocks? Why is everyone tuning in? Why are they so important? Let's dive right in. So we're going to kick it off with, of course, Apple. Why wouldn't we, right? It's hitting new highs once again, as you can see on the chart. It is one of the earnings all-stars, although it did have this one rare miss here in February 2023, where they missed by just 2.6%. But otherwise, they have an excellent earnings surprise track record. That's not the problem with what's going on with Apple. The problem has been that nobody knows for sure where the growth is going to come from. And earnings have retreated to the single digits. So for this fiscal year, Apple expected to see earnings growth of 7.5%. But next year, the analysts are getting more bullish, expecting 12% for next year. And why is that? Because they're rolling out new phones with all these AI features, and they believe that most of their customers are going to upgrade to those new phones. So whether you want a new iPhone or not, you are most likely going to be buying one that's going to go to their bottom line, as it always does, and going to be a big boost for the earnings back into the double digits. But Apple is not cheap here. It's trading at 35 times. That's on the more pricey side. And we even had Warren Buffett recently selling a big chunk of his Apple shares. Now, he said it was for tax purposes, but I'm always a little bit wondering when the stock gets that expensive, whether or not he's just basically cashing in some chips, because it's rare for a value investor to own a company trading at 35 or even 40 times forward earnings. But that is where we're going to have to wait and see what goes on with this earnings report. But given that the stock is breaking out again, this is going to be an important one. So I'm going to be watching Apple, as are you, ticker AAPL. Then we're going to switch over to the medical side. Now, this company, this chart is even hotter than Apple, if you can even believe it. Eli Lilly, ticker LLY. I've covered it many times on this segment, because they started to put together a nice earnings surprise streak. They now have beat 4 quarters in a row. Doesn't matter as much for the drug manufacturers as it might for someone in some other industry, but it's good to see it hitting and beating on the analyst estimates, especially given what's going on with those analyst estimates. So for 2024, earnings expected to be up 115%. That's super rare for any company, let alone a big drug manufacturer. And then another 42% for 2025. But the stock has taken off, as you can see, hitting these new all-time highs seemingly almost every day, now trading with a forward PE of almost 70. So something might have to give, or maybe not. Now, I did want to take a look at the price to consensus chart with Eli Lilly. So just so you can get an idea of what the analysts are doing with those earnings and the consensus here. So you can see it's slowly going up and to the right, and even for 2026, as the analysts start to get more bullish in here. Whether or not this holds, we'll see. And if Eli Lilly can execute with this enormous amount of pressure on them now, with the stock as expensive as it is at 70 times, we'll see. But that's why all eyes are going to be on Eli Lilly this earnings season. This is one of the most important stocks you should be watching. Then we're going to switch it over to the restaurant industry, and this is Chipotle, but let's take a look at that earnings surprise chart first. So Chipotle has been a great earnings surprise performer, just 3 misses in the last 5 years, which is really impressive because the restaurants were hammered during the start of the pandemic, as you recall. And that is where one of the earnings misses was here in July of 2020. That was a big miss. But then another one in February of 2021, a lot smaller. And then the third, again in February of 2023, this time, a miss of 6.6%. But they mostly meet or beat, and we've been seeing that. Shares went to new all-time highs. They did split it. So this is now the split adjusted chart, and the stock is sold off a bit on the split. Basically, now that it's complete, some people are getting out and the stock has retreated a bit, but it still remains among the more expensive of the growth stocks with a forward P of 51 times. And 2024 earnings expected to be up 23%, 2025 another 20%. It has the good price to consensus chart for that reason. Still easily able to do this 20% on the earnings growth. But what is everybody willing to pay for Chipotle? What does the future look like now that it's done the stock split? And where is that growth coming from? Is it overseas? Are they going to be expanding a lot more quickly overseas? There's a lot of questions with Chipotle, but I know many of you own it, and this is definitely one of the five most important stocks to watch this earnings season. That's Chipotle, ticker CMG. Then we're going to switch back to the Magnificent Seven because, of course, why wouldn't we? And I chose Microsoft as one that is the most important. You can pick from just about any of those Mag 7s, but Microsoft is sticking out to me because it's yet another one that's hitting the new highs. It's got the great earnings surprise track record. Just one miss that sullies it here in 2022, July 2022, very small, just 2.2%. That's too bad, but it otherwise is meeting or beating most of the quarters. So very good earnings communication with the analysts from management. These shares, again, hitting new highs and not cheap either at 34 times forward earnings. Fiscal 2024 expect growth of 20% on the earnings side, 2025 up 11.9%. So still some nice double-digit gains, not quite able to keep that 20% level, but trillion-dollar companies shouldn't really be growing at the 20% level on the earnings, but Microsoft is, and it's got a bunch of different divisions and things that we'll be watching this earnings season. So this is definitely one high on the list. I own it in my own personal portfolio, so I'll be tuning in as well. That's Microsoft, ticker MSFT. Then I went with a surprise pick for the fifth one that's most important. Now, you would think it would be NVIDIA, but NVIDIA reports a little bit later in the earnings season. And so we did just kind of have NVIDIA's report, and it's going to be a while before we hear from them again. So I chose Super Microcomputer, one of its partners in the data center build out, ticker SMCI. As you can see from this earnings surprise chart, it is red hot here in 2024. And we're going to get this a lot earlier. We're going to get this report in August. So this is going to give us some insight into what is happening with NVIDIA because they are such a big partner with them. They have a good earnings surprise track record, just that one miss in 2023. They've been telegraphing it well, but it gets hard here when you have fiscal 2024 earnings expected to be up 101.7%. And then 2025, another 44%. This PE is just 26. So that sounds, remarkably low compared to some of the others. And let's just take a quick look, even though we are only supposed to be looking at the earnings surprise chart, but price and consensus is one of my favorites. This one has been pretty crazy, but you can see it really starting to spread out now. The earnings consensus up sharply in 2023 into 2024, but now starting to spread out as the analysts get a little more confident about what might happen there in 2025 and even in 2026. We still have that earnings growth. So this is another one of the big winners on the AI side. We're all going to be watching Super Micro. It's kind of like a fan favorite now during this cycle. And this is going to give us some insight into NVIDIA. So that's why it's among the 5 most important stocks to watch here as we roll through second quarter earnings season. So you can see, even though I picked the 5 most important, these are companies that have excellent earnings surprise track records along with what's happening with the stock and their underlying businesses. A coincidence? I don't think so, because they usually do go hand in hand. But we're going to be watching all 5 of these this earnings season, as well as dozens and hundreds and thousands more that are going to be rolling out. I'm going to be bringing you charts every week, giving you all the stocks you should be tuning into. But I wanted to cover these most important ones because they're reporting in various weeks and some of them quite imminently. So I want these on your radar as we move through earnings season. But I'll be covering all of those that have the great earnings surprise track records as we move through. So you don't want to miss a single one of these episodes. Make sure you get them on Zacks.com/YouTube, on our YouTube channel, and I'll be tweeting them out as well. You can follow me just at Tracy Reineck, but make sure you get us somewhere, and I'll see you again next week with some more earnings charts.